I have to call
gentlemen, to our February 18th meeting of 2020. We wanted to say that Mr. George Ely is absent. And let's roll call. 5 members are, 6 members are here. Please rise for the flag. Salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Report on actions from closed session. Placement of non-public school students, new 2019-2020. Was made motion by Gary Knaxet, second by Mr. Heberly, to approve the placement of 2019-2020 non-public school students number 91 to the following vote of 6-0, 1 absent. Placement of non-public school students changes 2019 to 2020. Mr. Heberly motion, Mr. Porter second, that approve the placement of 2019-2020 non-public school student number 24 and 41 by the following vote of 6-0, 1 absent. That's all that happened in closed session. Okay, I just want to announce the student representatives. Miss Edwards, could you pronounce your first name, please?
Atia.
Atia Edwards from Tokyo High School. Thank you. And Danny Underman?
There was actually a last minute change. Ethan McLaughlin, the ASB vice president, who stepped in earlier today for Danny.
So you are Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Ethan.
Okay, we have a recognition. Dr. Washer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Board of Education for acknowledging the efforts that our teachers put forth in working towards their national board certification. And we have an exciting recognition. I'm going to ask Lois Celeste to come up and do the honors for us.
We have Jen Castle come. My name is Lori Celeste. I'm a third grade teacher at Ansel Adams, and I also am the lead for the National Board Network here in this area, which just means that I'm the contact person. So, Jen, we're here tonight, and I wrote it down so I don't forget, to celebrate and recognize your amazing and well-deserved achievement of certifying as a National Board Certified Teacher in the area of English Language Arts, Adolescent, Young Adult. National Board Certification is the highest certification a teacher can earn. It involves a rigorous process where teaching, practice, planning, instruction, analysis, reflection, and assessment must be at an exemplary level as measured by national standards. Currently, only 2.5% of teachers in California are National Board Certified, and this process can take anywhere from 1 to 5 years. It involves an assessment and a testing center measuring content, knowledge, and depth, and 3 portfolio entries, as well as video evidence measuring differentiation instruction, teaching practice and environment, assessment, collaboration with peers in the community, and identifying a professional learning as well as student learning needs. A decade of research shows that students of board certified teachers learn more than their peers And that impact is even greater than for minority and low-income students. Teacher retention is also at a much greater level for MBCTs. Board certification allows teachers to hone their practice, showcase their talent in the classroom, and demonstrate their dedication to the students and their profession. This is something GEM has always been known for in our district. There's a consensus that teacher quality is the most important school-based variable determining how well a child learns. Teachers who have gone through this process say that it's most valuable and transformative professional development they have ever experienced. The opportunity to connect professional learning with classroom practice brings life to a teacher's experience, helping them reflect on individual student learning needs. Jen began her teaching in Lodi Unified at Bear Creek, is that correct?
Kind of.
Kind of?
In the district, yeah.
Okay. And currently teaches AP Art History, AP Lit, Shakespeare, as well as a Delta College class after regular Lodi Unified hours. She completed all 3 portfolio components in a year. These are not just like writing a paper for your master's class. These are very cognitively demanding, so this in itself is quite an achievement. In honor of your accomplishment in becoming an English Language Art MBCT, I would like to present you with your National Board Certified Teacher's Pin.
But I really think this is the perfect opportunity to point out how many awesome teachers we have in this district. And I know that for a fact. I work with some just incredible teachers, and we hang out every day, and we hone our craft, and we have a lot of really good times, and we have grown together in this profession. I also have 3 children that have gone through Lodi Unified Schools, and the last of whom is sitting in the audience as a senior. And they have had just impeccable teachers. I have been so impressed, and I am just a great believer in the quality of teaching staff that we have here at Lodi Unified, and I am honored to be a part of that. And I did National Board to kind of prove that it can be done, and I know a whole lot of other teachers that are interested in doing this as well, and they should. They are completely capable of it, and I just am so pleased to be a part of that crew. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jen. I can attest that you're a great teacher by having my granddaughter in your class, and that's all she talks is about you and how well you treated your students, and the response you got from them is awesome. Thank you, and very congratulations again.
Ms. Castle, aren't you receiving something on Friday? I know that you were nationally certified, but Friday, isn't there something else happening in Los Angeles? Could you share with the board and the people here what that is?
Sorry. Yes. I will share that because I was nominated by the ELA coaches of Lodi Unified, who are another fine group of teachers, and they nominated me for a CATE, it's California Association of Teachers of English, Teaching Classroom Excellence Award, and I'll be going down to LA to collect that award, and I'm again really, really honored, but I I think so much of that is just loving what I do and appreciating all the great and deserving kids we have in this district, and all of my awesome teaching colleagues. Thank you.
We appreciate all your hard work.
Any other board members? Okay, superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last board meeting, a previous board meeting, you appointed some administrators to positions, and we'd like to introduce them to you tonight. So I'm going to ask Adam Auerbach, Principal Lodi High School, to come up and just introduce himself, let you know who he is.
Good evening, board. Everybody else. I'm Adam Auerbach. I've been serving in this district since 2006 as both an English teacher at the middle school and assistant principal at Lodi High some years back, vice principal at Tokay, and now my role as principal at Lodi High. I can't thank you enough. It's been a wild journey for me the last number of years. I've gotten to know a lot of different people in different places, and the one thing that makes my job doable on a daily basis is getting to serve the amazing kids and staff that I work with. Just seeing Jen come up here and getting a chance to work with her and some of these other great folks from Tokay back here was an amazing opportunity for the last few years that I got to experience before coming into my role now. I hope that moving forward, what I get to do is to be the leader of a positive culture and school climate at my site. What I preach to my staff and students is that we're more concerned with them being great human beings rather than having great grades. And so on a regular basis, we do everything we can, working hard on a daily basis with my staff to make sure that our kids have the best experience that they possibly can have. Making sure that I am vulnerable and transparent in everything that I do, that I'm not above any questions by either any kid or staff member at my site. Anyway, so I really appreciate your time here. And I really appreciate your appointing me and having faith in me over this next quite a number of years, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
I'd like to introduce you to Cassandra Sotella, Principal, Oakwood Elementary School.
Good evening, thank you for this opportunity. A little bit about myself. I came into this district in 2004 after 1 year in Stockton Unified. I taught, my first year was a SDC 4-6 intensive intervention class. I came to Lodi and taught 2 years at Bear Creek, and then I moved over to Manlio Silva, and I was there for 4 years, and then I had the privilege of working with Mrs. Katowski's team as a district coach. And spent a lot of my time working with our teachers in our district on good first instruction, DIBELS training implementation, worked with Dr. Schuffelbein to support our teachers as well. And then I was lucky enough to get a position as a vice principal. I worked with Ben Coe at Manlio Silva for 4 years. Then I moved over to Borchard and I was there for 3 years, and then I moved to Oakwood and I was there for about 2 weeks. And then I was moved to Davis as an interim principal, which was a really great experience for me. I came back second quarter to Oakwood and was a vice principal for 4 days. And then I was appointed as an interim principal for Oakwood for that time. And then now, you know, I've been appointed officially, so thank you for that. Oakwood's an amazing school. I was sharing with Mr. McGregor today that we just received some of our data back from our first grade DIBELS testing, and we, in all 3 of our first grade classes, majority of our students have grown from 40 to 90 points over 2 quarters of work, and some in the hundreds. So if you're not very familiar with DIBELS and composite scores, that's huge growth in 2 years, or I'm sorry, in 2 quarters. I attribute that to, first and foremost, the solid first instruction, good first instruction with our teachers, the dedication and hard work of our students and staff, and then a systematic approach to the reading, and they're working really hard. Our primary is working really hard on that. We are also knee deep in planning for the rollout of our house system. I had the privilege of attending the Ron Clark Academy in November with 5 of my staff, and it would be an understatement to say that we were so eager and excited to walk away from that experience. Many of our teachers have already incorporated movement, song, increased their student engagement in the classroom from just the 2 days that they spent over there. And they are honestly just so excited to put this process into place and transform our school. We're continuing to make connections with our students to build good relationships. You know, anyone that has asked me over the past few months about how Oakwood is doing, they're getting an earful about what a hidden gem this school is. So I would ask you to please come and visit. I'd love to introduce you to our great students and staff, and just thank you for this opportunity.
I'd also like to ask Katie Magana to come up, Assistant Director of Child Development, School Readiness, and Preschool.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Washer. Thank you, the board, for allowing me to be here tonight and introduce myself. So I started my career at Lodi Unified in 2013. I taught in the classroom. I've been a specialist. And now as an assistant director, I'm looking forward to working together with our director, Lisa Lopez, and seeing the growth that our department has already gone through these last 6 years. I'm excited to work collaboratively with her and with the school district in growing our programs and ensuring that all of our preschool students receive the best education possible.
Thank you. Also wanted to let you know that robotics is a big effort in Lodi Unified. We've talked to you about Valley Robotics and what they're doing, but also want to make sure we mention that Lodi Middle School and Tokay High School will be representing the district at the upcoming VEX Robotics State Championship for the first weekend in March in Sacramento. This program, the VEX Robotics, is a huge organization worldwide, has over 20,000 teams from 50 countries. And so Tokay High and Lodi Middle School will be representing our district next month in the state competition. Several meetings ago, we introduced you to a Bear Creek student who was working towards becoming a National Merit Scholar, and he has advanced to be a finalist. So Mr. Banks from Bear Creek High School is a finalist, and we're looking forward to hearing more about that in the future. Just want to give you an update.
Thank you, Dr. Washer. Thank you. Okay, now we come to the section where we have comments from the public. A 20-minute time period has been set aside for public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker should limit his or her comments to 3 minutes, but is welcome to distribute any material to the board or staff due to the restrictions imposed by the California Brown Act regarding discussing topics that are not on the agenda. Board members may not engage in dialogue about the issue. Okay, first one up is Patty Gersecki. I'm sorry, I'm asking the last name, What is it, Patty? Correcti. Thank you.
My fans back there just made me really nervous, Adam. Well, I'm here to give you an update with my personal longevity. I am very persistent in trying to find something in writing. Hers finally came through. I talked to Mr. Herback, who is a manager, who put it in writing for me. He called me and he said that I should hear something from Lodi Unified within 24 to 48 hours, and I received an email from Mr. Kahn that evening, which ended with, please know that your request is open and we await definitive direction from CalPERS on this matter. Mr. Herback sent me an email and included me, sent an email to Lodi Unified and included me on the definitive directions. I called Mr. Herback this morning, and LUSD has not made any corrections, nor have I heard a word about my recalculations from Lodi. I've done the math and I know what I should be getting back. I really need this corrected so I know where I stand with my PERS. I need to know what my service credits are so I know how much time I have to work. I know people are saying this is going to harm others, but I don't see how I'm making it right. If I don't get it fixed, it hurts me in the end, and that is what I'm trying to prevent. Second, my longevity. I now have it in writing for personnel. My salary progression. They missed one of my longevity raises for 4 years. When I was promoted to CWA, I saw Marcy to find out how I was placed on the salary scale. She wrote it out. You have a copy. And because I was maxed out as clerk typist. And she broke it down for me. But next May, I went and saw her again because I still didn't think the vacations were right. And in 2018 and 2019, I received a 16% raise, which is around $5,000. As Marcy said, in 2017, they would catch up my longevity. So I need to have that fixed, and I'd appreciate any assistance that you can give me at this time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patty. Martha Snyder.
Good evening, Mr. Nava, members of the board, and Dr. Washer. Martha Snyder from Crystal McAuliffe Middle School. I come to you tonight because my clock is ticking. Like, I think it's 12 weeks. And I wanted to come before you tonight and say just one more time. In 15 years, I've come before you and asked, pleaded, and begged that you get our school district, district-wide, media service, be it Discovery Education, California Streaming, whatever it is. Across our K-12 curriculum, we need a digital media service that does not come out of the pocket of a teacher or have young teachers have to go and find something in a digital media realm, and that we don't end up with students sitting in classrooms for 4 days at a time watching a video when we have very tight pacing guides. Yes, they're guides, but we need to move through the curriculum. The other thing I wanted to mention to you tonight is we still really need to improve professional development. Not just for the teachers in this district, but for our other educator leaders to be able to lead schools in an effective fashion. And on that end, I know that the teacher specialists of LEA are really struggling to provide classes. They're hard to find. I am going to, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to head south to Palm Springs and go to the Q conference yet again, because there's nothing in Lodi Unified that fits my skill set for me to continue to bring things to my classroom and be a highly qualified and proficient educator. And that's sad to say at 30 years in. And on that note, I also want to add that it has been a pleasure to serve this district. But as I leave this district, I am very concerned about every educator in the room who may be wearing red or wearing a teal shirt, because in 30 years, I've been before you time and time again on the same issues each and every time. So I haven't been here for a while, and the reason I haven't been is you say you're listening, you say go back to my bargaining unit and seek consensus. I've done that, and yet things don't seem to change. And I'm perplexed and I'm puzzled. I will, as a tax-paying citizen in the state of California, keep coming before you even after I retire. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Tarina Taylor.
Hi, I am Trina Taylor from Lodi Middle School, and we aren't distributing something again because at the last meeting we gave you our packets, but we are here again representing the middle school department heads. As stated in the contract, department heads are to be given a yearly stipend, but we have yet to receive ours. We met with our association leader, who has told us that there is a document the district has in possession which is preventing middle school department heads from receiving our stipend. Our association says they have no copy of this, but that the district does. If this exists, we are asking again to see this. Our association leader also stated that the board members are against the idea of paying all department heads. We are asking that you please review the contract and would gladly sit down for a meeting with anybody who is willing to. We have been told repeatedly from both our association and the district that the wording in the contract is the binding language. Therefore, we are asking to move forward in upholding the wording that states that department heads should be given a stipend. Thank you.
Liz Engelbrick.
Hi, good evening, board. Dr. Washer, thank you for having me. I usually take my time as a union rep to come and talk to you, but I wanted to make sure that there was an issue on the forefront of your mind. I'm a speech language pathologist in the district, and I wanted to make sure that you know that the speech language pathologists are progressing through with a grievance. We are working without a contract right now. We do not have enough full-time positions to be compliant with California's state ed code. We are to be at an average of 55 students per caseload. We have 13 SLPs whose caseloads are between 60 and 80 students. It's unsustainable. We can't do it. And it came to my attention that maybe the board isn't quite aware of that issue that's happening right now. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of it. We are going through with our negotiations as well, which is a separate issue, but we are moving toward arbitration in April, and I wanted to make sure you guys are aware of that. Thank you.
Lana Gentry.
Hi there. I've been here before and I'll continue coming back. My name is Lana Gentry. I am a parent and a teacher within this district. And I'm here to talk about bargaining in general. And our bargaining structure is supposed to be interest-based bargaining, meaning both sides are on the same team. That has not been our experience. I went to that training and we haven't been experienced, because the whole point is we're all here for the kids and the employees and everyone, and so we should be working together. It's not supposed to be adversarial, because we're all here. All bargaining units, and I see CSEA in the house here. We are working hard every day, and quite honestly, I've been teaching for this is my 26th year in the district, and the job continues to get harder and harder and harder. Interest-based bargaining means that the district comes prepared with their proposals to the bargaining meetings. District employees who bargain, who are on the district side, need to be civil. It is absolutely unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable for them to yell at our bargaining team teachers. If a student was that rude and insulting to me and yelling at me, they would be removed from my class and possibly suspended. We are adults. There's no reason whatsoever that would make it okay to be yelling at other teachers who are there for interest-based bargaining. It is also a waste of the district money and the taxpayers' money, so I'm speaking as a parent, to pay for subs for our bargaining team teachers to come to a meeting to discuss proposals that are supposed to be prepared, and for the bargaining team on the district side to be not prepared, not have their sunshine proposal, refuse to discuss what we have offered, and to cancel and refuse to talk after 1 hour. That means the district paid for a full-time sub for all of those teachers who would have rather probably been in their classroom, so those kids have a sub, and you paid for a full-day sub, and then the other side refused to talk after 1 hour. That is also an unacceptable abuse of our money and taxpayer dollars. I encourage the board, because this has been going on for a long time, the way our bargaining team is being treated. I am asking you to please direct the district employees who are on the bargaining team for the district to be professional, polite, treat others as you would like to be treated, just like we expect the kids in our classrooms to behave. So thank you for your support and making that direction, because if they are so angry and out of control that they are yelling, I would, maybe they shouldn't be on the bargaining side.
Nicole Brucker.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Brucker, and I teach first grade at Larson Elementary. And I just wanted to address a couple of items regarding the LEA contract proposal that was offered by the district. First, I really want to emphasize how important class size is for K through 12. Effective teaching is directly impacted by the number of students in each class. I would really like to encourage the district to maintain the class sizes at a maximum of 24 for K through 3rd teachers. 31 for 4th through 12th, but realistically, 24 students should be the goal for every classroom K through 12th. And while I teach elementary school, I would like to support the high school teachers as their colleague and as a parent of 2 teenagers. High school teachers regularly have classes that exceed 31 students, and this is not only ineffective, but potentially a safety hazard. And in addition, this type of overcrowding is extremely unfortunate to students who receive less direct feedback, less time to share, and less time is spent teaching because more time is spent managing behaviors and procedures. And secondly, the proposed teacher workday that addresses workday equity, student contact equity, prep equity, and before and after school equity. I'd like to address that, because how was the equity resolved? By making K through 12 workdays equal. And equality is not equity. Grade levels do not need the exact same things because we are not replicas of one another. Equality only works if the needs are exactly the same. First grade is very different from 3rd grade, which is a world of difference from high school. And my hope is that when you go back to the bargaining table, you will look at our needs in an equitable manner and give teachers what they need to be successful. The teachers you employ do this every day. If we merely taught with equality, our job would be much easier, but it would be less effective. Please do not take the easy way out. Instead, engage us in creative solutions that meet the needs of everyone, just like we do every day with every class, with every student. Thank you.
Kelly Hanston.
Good evening to the board. My name is Kelly Hanston. I live at 514 West Locust Street. I'm a 6th grade teacher. Hi guys, so nice to see you. I have spoken many times before the board, and I'm coming this time to talk to you about something That's similar to what the teachers have been talking about, but it's more about class, combination classes. I've been really distressed when I've looked at the offerings, the classes that are all open. And at my school, we're going to have just 2 this year. We had 3 one year. And as a 6th grade teacher every year, when I have those kids who have these huge deficits, when I go back and look, oh, 1st and 2nd grade combo, 4-5 combo. How did they get in a 5-6 combo for 5th grade after being in a 3-4 the year before? And I just think I love what the 1st grade teacher just said about different needs. We hardly, with our one class, one grade, it is so difficult to get everything that a child needs. And then you throw 2 together, mash them together with our standards, with just the different needs that they all have. There's no way a teacher can be as successful as they want to be. And I was talking to a high school teacher, and they said that now, because of some need, you're starting to cram high school classes together. Oh, it was your son, Michael, was telling me about it. No, I'm not saying that. I mean, Susan and I sat here for years and talked about when we had year-round. We just say one little thing to you. But I really think that we need to start looking at this, and it should be reduced instead of increased. Parents, stand up. If you're a parent, please stand up. Remain standing if you want your child in a combo class. Nobody would choose it, no matter how wonderful the teacher is. There's just no way to give equity to those children that are in a combination classroom. And I just think we really need to find I think we can do it if we decide we're going to do it. No combos. I talked with Odie Douglas years ago about this, and he just said there's no way we can do it. And if you have that kind of attitude, there can be no change in this world. If nothing changes because we think nothing can change. But we have to go with the idea that we are going to make changes to make this the school district that I signed up with, the one that all the realtors were saying about, oh, it's Lodi School District. They don't say that anymore.
No.
Why? You have fabulous teachers. You have every teacher goes with the idea, I'm going to make a difference in this child's life. And they do. But we could make so much more of a difference if we have a level playing field for all our classes. So please think about this and let's come up with a solution. Interest-based. Thank you.
That concludes our comments from the public. Any other comments? Okay, let's have a board member comment. Mr. Connexa.
Yeah, I have a quick recognition. I attended a recognition ceremony for Steve Kirkwald at the Lodi High School soccer field last week. Steve was recognized for his 40 years of coaching soccer and is retiring from coaching this year. One of the things that most people don't know about Steve was that he was very instrumental in bringing girls soccer to the SJAA. That was before we had TCAL and the SJAA. That's a person that probably doesn't get a lot of recognition, but after 40 years and doing the things that he's done for kids in the soccer program, I just wanted to bring his name up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. President, Middle College, they had their high altitude balloon launch, and I was able to attend it, and it was absolutely fantastic. The students were very much involved. Amazing team that we had from Magnitude. We're there in full force doing an amazing job as always. This is a great project. This is my second balloon launch. They get more exciting every single time. I'm glad we were able to provide this to our students. And they've been working a long time with the science project, with amoebas, to see how they were going to survive high altitude. This is a fantastic opportunity, and people that also attended were very, very appreciative of the district and what we were able to provide. So thank you, Magnitude, and congratulations, Middle College, on your successful high altitude balloon launch.
Mr. Everly.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's that time of year again. Within the school year, we start having a lot of different competitions that are coming up. You already heard about the robotics competition that's going to be on March 7th. Also on March 7th will be Science Olympiad for Divisions B and C, that's middle school and high school. And on March 14th will be Science Olympiad A Division, which is elementary. Also we've got coming up is this Saturday will be Science Bowl competition, which is like Jeopardy kind of questions. And it's all kinds of math and science, and those questions are tough. Also on the 29th, February 29th, will be once again a fabulous event. Will be held at Tokay High. It's the NorCal Science Festival. I'm going to tell you, if you've never been there, you gotta go. And if you have any kids or grandkids, take them along, because just watching their faces when they see the things that are in there and it's hands-on, it's great. So we do have 2 days of Science Olympiad, 1 day of robotics. I've got to put my calendar. Science Bowl, NorCal Science. There's just a lot of things going on, and I know there are other competitions, but being married to a science teacher, when she's involved, you're involved. And so the big hook kind of comes and drags in. But it's really great to see the kids involved in these events. And what's the common theme? There are teachers behind them that are volunteering their time to travel to wherever they have to go for the competitions. Can't do it without them. And so if you have any time and you want to go view those, kind of look at the information that's out there and see if you can come. Well, everybody's welcome there. It's just incredible to see the things that the kids can do with adult help. Thank you.
Last week I attended the Wellness Committee meeting on Lodi Unified Nutrition Services. This is the second meeting I went to. They're doing some amazing things. They started in October something called Share Table at many of the schools, where if you're not going to eat a piece of non-perishable food, you put it on a table, and other students that are still hungry can come up and basically share and take the food that you did need. It's to reduce waste within the district, which they reported is going quite well. In this Wellness Committee meeting, it's open to the public, by the way, anybody can come. They talked a lot about mental health and other services that they are bringing to campuses. The interesting thing that I thought is they're working on more vegetarian and vegan options, and they're also doing taste testing with the students at the different high school levels. And so I found that interesting, that not only can the students buy the food, but they also get a say in what's happening based on California standards. So if you haven't been to one of their meetings, they have one coming up. I believe it's next month. Might be something to check out.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'd like to thank Martha Snyder for your hard work for those years that you put in. You're one of the top teachers, Martha, and I've known you for quite a while. Thank you for bringing this to us again, and hopefully that we will get out of that syndrome and get something done. Another thing that I'm really surprised is that the comment was made that the shouting from our bargaining team, we, to my knowledge, have professionals on this staff of bargaining. I've never heard this before in my 12 years as a board member, that the bargaining unit has hollered at the teachers and so forth and so on. I'm not aware of it, but I'll do some research on it and get back to you on that one. I'm very surprised. Again, thank you for mentioning the combo classes. No board member here likes to hear combo classes in the elementary school. When I started here, we had over 60 combo classes in this district. Right now, we started out with 33 combo classes and we're down to 22. We're making every effort whatsoever to cut down on these combo classes where it's extremely possible to do, and we will work on it till we die. Thank you. All right, we continue on with our reports. Measure U, Phase 3 assignments. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Washer. I won't spend a lot of time reporting on this. If you look at the table before you, thus far these are staff's recommendations for professional assistance with these projects. These will all go into design as soon as we award contracts to the architects. I will note that of this list of 8, Houston is already in play. Their design is at DSA. I think we've talked about that at quite some length in previous board meetings. We expect to be out of DSA for Houston sometime by the end of February, maybe early March. So we can begin going to market for Houston. Everything else is yet to be designed. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
You, any comments from the board?
I do have questions,
Yes.
but I'll meet with you.
Okay.
Some specifics.
Any other comments? Any comments from the audience?
I can't see any of it.
Can't see it?
Oh, yeah, there's one.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue on with our reports. Lodi Unified and Delta College Partnership, district-wide early college opportunity. Mr. Palmquist.
Thank you. Thank you, President Nava, members of the board, Dr. Washer. The last board meeting, I presented during the superintendent's report a preview of a project that we were working on to bring an early college opportunity for every 8th grader in Lodi Unified to fruition. Tonight I've invited Dean Jesse Garza Roderick, come on up, Dean, so that we wanted to present the information you have before you in an executive summary. Wanted to have you have the opportunity to meet Dean Garza, who has successfully run a program similar to this out of Mountain House and is working with Tracy Unified on a similar program, and give you the opportunity to ask questions and provide feedback before we move forward and get the word out. And so with that, I'd like to draw your attention to the executive summary. There's a few things you'll note on that, but if I had to give an overarching summary, it's that this is a Delta College initiative and Delta College program that they are organizing in such a way as to make it convenient, advantageous, and supportive of our students. Any student could conceivably decide to become a community college student after school if they wanted to. What Delta College is doing and what we hope to gain through this partnership is organizing that in such a way and providing the supports that are necessary and giving them colleagues throughout the district, other students throughout the district, so that they can take advantage of this this opportunity. And so with that, I'd like to again introduce Dean Garza and then open it up for any feedback or questions that you may have.
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, just one. Are you trying to roll this out to all the high schools, comprehensive or?
We're rolling it out to all the 8th grade schools. We've already met with the 8th grade principals. And what we're going to do is we go recruit 8th graders because it involves the parents. Our program has been very successful for Lammersville, the Mountain House High School, and Tracy Unified School District was rolled out last year. We're in our 5th year. It is an award-winning program. It has received the Golden Bell Award in the state of California. We came in 3rd in the nation. What it does is it provides a STEM program, a 2-year college degree in math and science for students in high school. typically what happens is we graduate our first cohort last May. They graduate from college, and then the next day they graduate from high school. And it's a very, very successful model. Texas is using that because it leads to an end product. In other words, they graduate high school with a 2-year degree. Some students choose to just do IGETC if they want to keep their AP, IB, or honors classes, which is fine. There are 2 separate transcripts, as you'll note on the screen. There's a Delta College transcript and there's a high school transcript. What it does do, it shortens time to degree for students, and parents really like the program because it saves 2 years of college tuition.
I have a couple questions for you. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I really appreciate you being here, and I think this is an incredible experience for opportunity to work with Delta College. I noticed you have an emphasis here in the healthcare field, is that correct?
Correct. Jeff is amazing, by the way, because I think we talked about this less than a month ago. And it's moved kind of rapidly. What we're going to do is, by the time they're juniors, we want to infuse during the summer a career track. So they will be college and career ready by the time they graduate high school. Jeff has recommended that we start with a health sciences option because it is a STEM program.
Right. Is there an opportunity for vocational as well?
Absolutely. We just have to roll one out at a time. I know that Delta is planning to do the interculture. I'm working with a lot of folks in Lodi. We've been wanting to do that with our farm as well as Mountain House, and we've got a lot of the Farm Bureau on board. It's just that we've got to roll out one program at a time.
No, I understand that. Of course, you want to make sure you do everything well.
Correct.
Now, is my understanding that they will get an AA? Is that
correct? It's an AA or AS in math and science. What it does, it depends on the level of difficulty. For example, they can do chemistry or biology, or they can do geology, and that determines whether it's an AA or AS.
And then they could use these on for their application towards college if they want to.
Absolutely. The majority of our students in our first cohort group, because we're tracking them,
Right.
were admitted as junior status.
So they save 2 years of, and having 2 boys in college, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And also what it did for students, which is interesting, I was telling Jeff, their freshman year, they're kind of immature. By the end of their freshman year, they're ready, and they bring back those study skills to the high school. We teach them about plagiarism, how to do term papers, etc. We've also aligned the curriculum with the high schools that we're working with. What it does is it gets these students ready for the pre-calculus, calculus 1 and 2, especially your engineering majors.
Right.
The best news that that a student brought to me not too long ago, actually 2 weeks ago, was that they received a number of scholarships based on the college courses they've already taken.
Outstanding.
And they also have, I'm waiting for May to see how many are getting into their first choice.
Right. Now, you also said in your PowerPoint here that there'll be some transportation.
Right. RTD, the city of Tracy was kind enough last year to work with me because it was the first year we launched them to try to get transportation for freshmen because they don't drive. And so we worked with, some of them don't. We worked with COG, Council of Governments, with the mayor and some elected officials and the Board of Supervisors, and we were able to provide a route for them.
Right.
So as soon as we launch our information sessions, I'll have an idea of the number of cohorts, because this is cohort-based,
Right.
that we're going to need transportation for.
Outstanding. And then how many classes do you project on?
They start slow. The first semester, it's actually 4.5 units. One class, a counselor follows them all, the same counselor follows them all 4 years. So it's a counseling class that does their educational plan, starts investigating their career options. The other class that we chose, and I mean we, because it was the students, the parents, the Board of Trustees at both institutions, is World Religions of the World.
Right.
We really needed the students to, it's a very diverse group of students because we mix them all together.
Or diverse community, sure.
Right. And then the second semester, they follow the same counselor, they finish up their educational plan, and it's either psychology or sociology class.
Now, how does this affect our Lodi teachers?
It doesn't at all. It's after school. It takes a highly motivated student to come at 4 o'clock. And the first year it's 4 to 7. We stack the class the same day, so they only come 1 day a week.
Will you be offering teachers in Lodi Unified the opportunity to teach these classes?
Absolutely. I've already asked Jeff for that information.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you for your presentation.
Ms. Garza, what is your attendance, since you said there's a commitment after school? What is your attendance at on these classes?
Okay, we're in our 5th year, and the first information session that we had at Tracy, when we launched Tracy, we purposely launched it at North, and we had over 300 parents and students at the information session. We started with 90 students, cohorts, 3 cohorts. Lammersville was our starting point because it was a new high school and it was small. And we needed to test the model. And we didn't graduate that first set of students until last May, after 4 years of fine-tuning it and building the support services that the students needed.
Thank you. Jeff, we're on this or what?
We are on this, so much so I really do want to thank Delta College, because when we were talking about this initially, I think the vision maybe was maybe one cohort in Stockton, and I asked loudly and excitedly about whether or not we should extend this to the entire district, because I thought that based on, I know, the work that the board and the district has done over a number of years, the idea was that we want to expand these opportunities for students. And so to be able to say that every student in the district has this opportunity if they want to take advantage of it, I know is an important step for us. And Delta said, all right, if your plate's that big, we're going to do it. And so yes, we met with the principals. We've identified a way that we think this will best roll out in really in every feeder pattern group. We want to make sure we make it accessible to our families. I do want to reiterate, students will still go to high school during the day. They will do the things that they already do at our sites. For lack of a better term, the metaphor I like to use is they're choosing an extracurricular activity that is a college degree, a 2-year degree. And there is no pre-qualifying. Really, this is open to the students who want it. And we'll work with Delta College to help them make it as available and accessible to all of our families.
Jeff, thank you. What a great opportunity to have this program. You know, as I was growing up, I wish we had this opportunity to do all these things. Instead, we just traditional, 6-5 classes in high school, and you're out there and you do other things, but you don't have opportunities to join these things and advance at your own pace and that type of thing. I know we have other board comments, but thanks, Jeff, for the program. And before I shut up here, I want to thank Ms. Garza, an expert. Good choice, very good choice, because we can get some input from her, and we're running. Thank you.
I take that as a yes on the partnership.
I wanted to say this is exactly the type of programs that I wanted to see when I became a board member. It sounds very hands-on type of education, and that's exactly where we want to go. One question though, how does this impact our Lincoln Tech Health program, if it impacts it at all?
No, it won't impact it at all. Again, there isn't really crossover in core standards and programs. Conceivably, a student, I suppose, could say they want to go after school instead of during the day, but I could see these things coexisting. I really could see them coexisting for the most motivated students. What we're looking at for career exploration is going to be more, it's supporting and wrapping around the program. It's not really embedded in the Delta program. One of the things I've talked to the CEO at, not only Lodi Memorial, now Dameron, and they've expressed some interest in providing some summer opportunities or other opportunities. And I could see that matching real well with what we do at Lincoln Tech. Of course, we'll have to build that over time, starting with just this year's 8th graders. But I could actually see it where students might take advantage of both.
Mr. Palmquist, I'd like to thank you for all your hard work and working with Delta College. And Ms. Garcia, thank you as well. This sounds incredible for our students. It's a great opportunity, and for the parents as well, unbelievable springboard into higher education. I just think it's marvelous. I really would like to credit you for all your hard work, and I also want to credit you for your willingness to be here tonight and work with us.
Thank you. And we launched the first cohorts fall of 2020.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's this fall. We're doing this. So you
Very
guys,
good.
Mr. Nava,
Very good.
we're ready to go.
Betcha. All right. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Fagan.
I would like to thank Dean Garza for coming to our meeting, and I share in my colleagues' excitement and appreciation for this unique opportunity. I was wondering about the marketing, how we were going to get this out there, because it would be a shame for so many students not to take advantage of this great opportunity, not only to receive these advanced degrees, but also to save thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, I'd be happy to share. Yeah, I can share that with you. Again, Dean Garza and Delta has been very gracious. It'd probably be easy to have maybe a parent information night here at the district office. When we met with principals, what we decided was, in order to make it as available and accessible to everyone, that we would hold a meeting in every every high school boundary area. So that means there will be 4 meetings, and we will host them at middle school sites within the feeder pattern of each of our high schools. We're also going to do one morning meeting for those that might be better served by that, and we'll be doing 3 6 o'clock-ish meetings. We met with the principals. We have some tentative things in place. We wanted to get input before we launched, but now after this meeting we will put some meat on the skeleton.
And the sessions are conducted in Spanish.
All right, very good. Awesome.
That's fantastic. And will there be opportunities for individuals that don't start in the freshman to join the program later as a sophomore?
Unfortunately, it's cohort-based, and so they have to start their freshman year because it is 66 units. It is a STEM AAAS. But what it does, though, it brings the opportunity to the siblings because they have younger siblings. Now, we do have the dual enrollment that is offered during the day that the other students can take advantage of.
Yeah, this won't change anything that we're doing with middle college or dual enrollment or Valley Robotics. Really, this is just an expansion of the partnership, and it's expanding it in a pretty significant way.
Well, that's fantastic. And this speaks for our media campaign. Let's sign up those 8th graders and let's get them in there for you.
We'll get the word out.
They agrees. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Washer.
One of my questions was, is there a marketing plan? Because obviously they have to know about it in order for them to sign up for it. You answered that. Thank you so much. So is there, are there any restrictions on selection? Obviously, okay. All right.
No, and actually, one last comment, and I can go on forever. This has been a really huge passion of mine the last 5 years. It builds a lot of equity into your school district because we do have what we call intrusive intervention with the support services that the college is able to provide to remediate students. It's really amazing what we're able to do for your students.
Well, it sounds wonderful. Anybody who knows me or knows my family, we like STEM. So thank you so much.
Okay, any comments from the audience?
Good evening, President Nava, members of the board. I think I heard some of the questions answered. And through the chair, I'm sorry, Ms. Gonzalez? No. Garza. Sorry. In Tracy and Lammersville, did those school districts have CT health programs?
We don't, we only have STEM right now. They have not asked for CTE programs because we do have the Cisco Academy at the Mountain House campus that provides networking and software certifications, advanced certifications, and that's what we're using right now. We have a partnership with Mountain House High School. We could offer more CTE programs, but the district asked, and I discussed starting with STEM, and that's what we started with at both of those school districts.
Okay, I think I asked my question, wasn't clear, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
With
in Lodi Unified, we have many CTE courses that are around the health field. And this sounds like some of the coursework would be aligned to a health pathway. And I'm worried about our students, are they going to be able to access our CTE health pathway, or will they then be diverted from what we have in place with our teachers to the after school? I think I heard some assurances that we'd be asking our own teachers to teach some of this, but I worry that we take away from one program, and I just want to make sure that, because we have a fabulous CTE, the dental assisting, the health, at Lincoln Tech. So can you tell us then how that is different from that?
Let me tell you how it's different. I guess CTE has two different meanings for the high school curriculum and for the college curriculum. Let me give you an example. Our STEM program for the AS requires physics, calculus 1 and 2. It also requires a junior year. We have internships with Lawrence Livermore Lab to explore those science. Academically, they're two different arenas. So I don't see any and Jeff, you might want to add to that.
Yeah, I can address that. So the coursework isn't aligned to healthcare. The coursework is the STEM pathway. What we will be doing is working with the hospital and others to provide summer exploration,
Right.
to provide some wraparound. It won't be taking the place of another program.
And I believe you said that the classes would be at Delta College, you'd be working on transportation. Would we be looking at our own district if this is after hours to provide our transportation department away?
No, let me explain how it, the dialogue, how it initiated with Amherst Unified School District. It is a Delta College program. It is not a Lodi Unified District program. It's after hours. In other words, the students would be the responsibility of the parents. I don't foresee issues with RTD. We're already talking to them about transportation. But in any event that RTD says, you know what, we can do the two high schools that you have in Stockton, we have to figure out how to do the others. It's not, how would I describe this? It's an after school, it's be like any student in high school saying, I want to take a college course if we didn't have this program.
Okay, we have some of those same programs offered at our high schools.
But during the day, we have MOUs with the college for the dual enrollment.
I thought we had after hours. Sorry, not knowing where to direct. Do we not have the dual enrollment after hours on some of our high school campuses?
We offer one or two courses at a time, depending. Not all sites offer it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the audience?
I'm just, excuse me, this is Deborah Lavin from CSEA. I just have a question, I don't know if anybody can answer it, but these courses that the students take will or will not be reflected on their high school transcript?
They will not. They're two separate transcripts.
Okay, so these courses then will in no way help us with our college and career readiness?
Well,
because if they don't show up on our transcript. So not at all? They don't show up on our transcript?
The district has their own requirements, and the college has its own requirements for a degree, and the two are separate.
Okay, so students taking these courses, and probably a question for you, Jeff, I don't know, that this in no way will impact their their high school career. Their high school career will continue just as it is now, and then this will be absolutely separate. Okay.
Any other comments?
And actually, Deborah, it's not unlike with the dual enrollment or other college classes we already offer. They're treated as a separate.
Ms. Garza, I'm so excited. This sounds wonderful. I just want to say I have 6th graders who come back to me and they want to talk about going to our middle college program. And a lot of them are really sad about leaving all the traditional fun things, the activities of high school, and this gives all the kids an opportunity to do more for themselves. So thank you, I think it's wonderful.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ms. Garza. Thank you. Continue on with the agenda. We have comments from student representative Tia Edwards from Tokay High School.
Good evening, Mr. Nava, President Nava, Dr. Washer, members of the board. It's good to be back. Happy February. So, for school activities and programs, we have almost 50 students from Tokay that will be working the polls on election day. We attended, well, myself as one of those students, we attended a poll training, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, that was hosted at Tokay. Very informational, and it's very exciting to be a part of this entire process. In student government, we have a blood drive coming up next week on the 27th. We also have been working on a project called Tokay Rocks. We paint rocks and hide them around the school, and students who find them can turn them in for a prize, which is basically Tokay merch, like hats or shirts, which is really exciting for our students. We have performances coming up. We have Pirates of Penzance musical that will be starting on the 27th and going through March 1st. They've been working really hard on this musical. We have a new theater director, Ms. Hensel. She's really great. And we also have our mock trials competing this week and last week at the Stockton Courthouse. They're doing really well. And we also have our anti-bullying assembly this Thursday, which is put on by the ASA. I'm not sure exactly what that stands for, but they do bikes, like a lot of bike stunts. And it's in conjunction with the U.S. Marines and the Anti-Defamation League. And we have also our What's Great About Tokay presentation. Students from Tokay go to Lodi Middle, and we basically talk about how awesome Tokay is, so that they're excited to come to Tokay if they do choose to do so. We also have baseball, softball, track, and all our winter sports are over now, including cheer, which is kind of exciting but sad for me. And then we also have our 8th grade parent night, which is tomorrow. I will be the MC at that. And we just have parents come in and basically see what Tokay is all about.
Thank you, Ikea.
Hello, Mr. President, Dr. Washer, and members of the board. So, at Bear Creek, recently we've had our elective preview day, which is just, we set up like tables in the cafeteria for students who were, because our students just started doing selecting their classes for next year. So the preview day was just allowing them to see like an insight into some of the classes they could take for next year, being it like photography or student government or things like that. And then we also had the VCHS VAPA night, which was an art show. So all of our art classes, a lot of the students put in art, and it was decorated. We decorated the small gym, and parents and family members and other people were able to come and see all the art that their children or friends were making in their art classes. We then also had our crab feed on the 1st of this month. That went very well. We raised a lot of money for our student government class. And then we've also been having the Special Olympic Games held at our school. And then we just had the premiere of our play, and then they came for me Remembering the World of Anne Frank. The first day was last Thursday, I believe, the 13th. And then for student government, our freshman and sophomore classes have been doing a Valentine's Day fundraiser. They did it from the 10th to the 14th. and it was just like Valentine grams. Hopefully they will be sending those out relatively soon. And then we sent 3 students to Camp Ryla over this past weekend. 2 girls and 1 guy, Sally Hin, Phoebe Fobasan, and Jacob Mathis. And then next week we have our International Spirit Week. So that runs throughout the whole week with 5 Spirit Days. And then on Thursday we have International Marketplace, which is, if you guys know, our International Carnival. We just changed the name this year because we're not doing the jump houses. So it's just going to be allowing our clubs to fundraise food for for themselves. And then on Friday, we will be having our international.
Thank you very much.
Very nice. Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much.
Ethan, you haven't been to one of our meetings before, have you? Or
Just
okay. And have you told us a little bit about yourselves, or?
So I'm the vice president at Bear Creek High School, the ASB vice president. I swim and play water polo all 4 years at Bear Creek. This is my 3rd year in the leadership classes at Bear Creek.
All right. And do you have some college applications out there?
No, I'm actually planning on attending Delta College. And
Wonderful. Will you swim for Delta too, or?
That's the plan.
That's the game.
And you have a career goal?
Right now, I'm really looking into sports medicine. Either, it's really just sports medicine right now.
All right. Well, we were just at Delta in our last meeting, right? Just a couple weeks ago, and we were in the theater, and it was
Bear Creek,
Bear Creek, yes. We had a wonderful meeting there. So anyway, good to see you. Tia, always good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you. How's the college search going?
It's actually going really great. I was admitted to Oregon State University, which is like my second top choice, so it's really awesome.
Teacher, right?
No, I want to be a veterinarian.
Veterinarian, good for you. That's a good teacher's college, Oregon State, by the way, California.
So you're admitted,
Yes.
and that means you accepted?
Well, I'm waiting on my UC to hear from the UCs, but after that, then I'll make my decision.
Very good. Well, that's amazing, and always good to see you. Excellent reports tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, comments from employee group representatives?
All right, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock,
So good evening, President Nava, members of the board, and Superintendent Washer. I'm Deborah Ladwig, and I'm the president of the CSEA chapter here in Lodi. I don't think I've updated you all for a while, kind of on who we are and what we, who I represent. So, we represent all of the work that needs to be done to enable our teachers to provide the best classroom experience possible for our students. That's pretty much who we are. We currently represent about 1,818 contracts, or 1,242 full-time equivalent positions. We have about 281 employee contracts right now, or nearly 16% of our classification that are below minimum wage. They're below $13. So we're trying to work on that. We have an additional 334 employee contracts that are probably going to fall below the minimum wage in the next 21 months, which means that 623, or nearly 35% of the Lodi Unified Classified Work staff will be minimum wage. Currently, about 63% of our contracts are below the starting wage at In-N-Out Burger, which is $16. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand, about 63% of your current CSEA employees could go someplace else where they're offering a starting wage that is above what we have here. I'm sure that we have folks that are going to be looking for spring break and summer work. Hopefully they come back in the fall. We're currently so shorthanded that an employee who asked for an unpaid leave to visit her very ill father-in-law was denied because there are no substitutes to take her place in her absence. So Lodi Unified has denied an unpaid leave of absence for an employee to spend end-of-life time with her father-in-law because we don't have anyone to take her place. Since 13-14, our district has realized an increase in the per pupil funding per the LCFF of about 44%. Our ADA over that same time has increased by about 200, resulting in a year-over-year increase from 13-14 to 18-19, from $6,751 per student to $10,331 per student, which means that in 18-19 we got about $100 million more than we got in 13-14, and in 13-14 we got $181 million. So we went from 181 to $281 million in 6 years. Over the same period, CSEA has had raises of under 18%, which took our lowest starting wage from $10.36 to $12.32, and that's where we sit, under minimum wage. I know I've supplied you with a lot of information over the last couple months. I send things in the email or I hand them out, so you've gotten a lot of information. And I have to tell you that we have been surprised when we look at other districts and what they offer classified employees. Currently, Lodi Unified makes available $2.88 per hour for health and welfare. The next closest to us is Manteca. They're at about $4.90, but their wages are about 15% higher than ours. Stockton makes $9.95 an hour available to their employees for health and welfare. And they pay more in the hourly wage. We can't figure out where the money's going because it's obviously not coming to us. We're asking to be treated fairly. Our work is important. We expect common decency and respect for the valuable services that we provide every day. And I really look forward to speaking with you over the next coming weeks in case you have any questions about any of the information that I've supplied. But we're having a hard time. We're figuring it out. So thank you very much.
Good evening again, President Mata, members of the board. First, I'd like to ask if we could take a moment of silence for 3 of our former students that passed away recently. So if you wouldn't mind and indulge me in a minute. Thank you. I'd like to also extend a thank you to district staff, Paul Warren, Jeff Palmquist, Chelsea Lanier, to sending out information as quickly as possible under the conditions, being reactive to our asks for more. It is my understanding that all 3 students attended Julia Morgan, so we had teachers that had all 3 of those young men and Kristen McCullough, and they were then at different secondary schools. So I want to thank the staff for reaching out to teachers because, you know, students are our life, and as these 2 young people go off into the world, there are a minimum of 15 to 20 teachers that hold them in their heart as they go on for as long as they live. And as what I tell my fifth graders, when I'm old and gray and I'm hobbling in the grocery store and I can't hear very well, please remind me your name, because you are my family. And so as we lost 3 of our family members, thank you for that tonight. Thank you also for recognizing Jen Castle and that national board certification. I have to tell you, is a daunting task. When they say 2% of teachers in California, you think how many teachers there are. It's quite an undertaking. And, you know, I tip my hat, I don't know if she's still here, she is, to complete all of the components in 1 year. Wow, I mean, just wow. Phenomenal stuff. It's teachers like that that make this district exciting for students to come. Again, I would ask you, as you look at the personnel reports that come to you with teachers resigning, I would ask you, please dig a little deeper. Those resignations, were they called in for non-reelect? How many observations did they have? How many times did a principal come into their room, coach them? How many times were they allowed to go out and observe somebody before we non-reelected somebody? There is not an endless pool of teachers with credentials or even interns out there that want to take this daunting task of teaching under. We need to do as much coaching as we can to those to keep them and in our district, and if they need to improve, how can we do that? Our teacher specialist, as part of the RBET, was one of those pathways to that. And so, are they making a difference? Are they being used in that aspect? So as you look at that, I hope you ask those questions. Many do say that bigger is better. Well, not when it comes to class size. Class size, it does matter. We were reminded again this week that there are some high school classes with as many as 41. I was reminded by my kinder colleagues of Common Planning Day, where the kindergarten teacher has 24 students. Well, on Common Planning, if they're on an extended day, they have 42 students in their room, 48. So imagine 2 kindergarten classrooms learning in one room for half a day, because the afternoon comes in the morning, 2 teachers. I think you've all heard my stories about kindergarten and how it is a daunting task and a challenge, and it is a calling. I cannot imagine 2 students, one ill, one who needs help. You have Chromebooks for only one of the classes, not both. How is that a good model? I really think we need to be looking at that model in particular and how we're doing common planning and having both those kinder classes. But as we look at class size, we need to look at what's best for students. And as we look at what's best, the combo classes with 41 slated, can we make any of those straight classes? Move some? What's best for learning? What's best for teaching? Let's look at the data. When dollars are spent on any programs, and we say any, both core or supplemental, we believe that the teachers should have some oversight in that any programs that need to be purchased that are going to be put in the hands of students on a device or a book goes before Curriculum Council, our representing body. We've been told time and time again that supplemental materials do not need to go before Curriculum Council, before this board. We think it should. We believe there are dollars being spent here on stuff, things like an online PD system that could very well pay for several teachers, interns at that, if you're even talking brand new teachers. So please look at what are we spending our dollars on, as we relook at the LCAP and we look at, do we want to do the same? Is the same working? Are we getting the same results? Unless we change it up. I'm telling you, the audience that you have out here of classified and certificated teachers, they're not going to be here as the job is more demanding and the pay is not increasing with the rest. Thank you. We do appreciate the curriculum, the extended hours for displaying materials and oversight. We hope that we also advertise to our parents that there are extended hours for them to see those materials. I heard someone mention, Mr. Heberly, I think it was you, Science Olympiad. And we love the idea of Science Olympiad, academic decathlon. But you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's teachers volunteering. And those sites that have teachers that can't volunteer, that have young kids at home, all students don't have that access. So if we really want it to be a priority, let's put our dollars where our priorities are. I've heard a lot about STEM and the great things about STEM. Well, I've heard many teachers starting up their fundraising campaigns for Science Camp. Science Camp a priority or not? If it is, let's go back to restoring Science Camp funding and paying our teachers. We would love to see everyone compensated for their time. That's one of the foundations of respect. Show me respect for what the work that I'm doing, and if that work is above board, compensate me above board. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Board President Nava, members of the board, Dr. Washer, thank you. And good evening. It's not quite 9 o'clock yet. To update you for LPPA, we do still have 2 grievances going on. We're going into arbitration on those. One is, as Liz brought up earlier, is regarding the speech and language pathologists who are over their caseloads, significantly over their caseloads. The other is regarding our program specialists who have noticed as our program specialists have been retiring, we have not been hiring program specialists to replace them. And they're very curious about what's happening with their positions in their field. We are continuing to go through negotiations with good faith. For February, we've been going at it since November, and I feel like we're kind of still at the starting point. I don't feel like we've made a whole lot of progress. And I feel like we need to still work together and compromise and have some hope as we go forward with that. With the, to kind of go back to class sizes, the expanding class sizes, the SLPs that are over their caseloads, we met with, on that note, we met with Lisa Katowski regarding LCAP and started looking into, numbers and where are our students coming from and where are our staff members coming from. What we discovered was that with LPPA, the students that we service are primarily special education students. So when we look at our special education population over the last 10 years, the special education population has grown by about 26.2%. In 2009, our special ed population was 3,658. 2019, we're at 4,627. 2009, LPPA had 130 staff members. 2019, 130. The nurses, speech and language pathologists, counselors, program specialists, and school psychologists are doing the work of many, but the demands are stretching us thinner and thinner. I've had a number of our members come to me saying that my health is falling apart, I can't get the work done, it's taking me hours every weekend, hours every evening to keep up with the job. How do I handle this? And we've been directing them through the contract how to deal with that. To give you an idea of what 26.2% is out of 130, that would be, to keep up with that pace, that's 34 new employees just to keep up with where we were 10 years ago. It's an issue that I think needs to be addressed, and we're holding it together as best we can, and I'm watching the seams burst, and it does need to be addressed. So, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Washer, do you have any other comments?
Just a reminder that we need to pull a consent item when you get there. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to consent agenda A, routine business.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to pull item A1.
A1.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would like to pull item A6
A6.
and A7.
A7. Anybody else from the board on that? Anybody in the audience? That's it.
So now
Okay.
we'd like to pull A5.
A5.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the remaining consent agenda items.
Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Ms. McFarland to approve the rest of the routine agenda A. Board vote, student vote.
Aye.
Board vote. Passed by 6-0, 1 absent. Mr. Freitas, item A1.
Mr. President, I pulled this item, it refers to the Lodi High pool. I know this has been a goal of the board for quite a long time. I wonder if we can get updated information from Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas, President, other members of the board, Dr. Washer. So the board may recall a very brief discussion on this matter some months ago, but we were not able to include the pool into the increment 1 and increment 2 projects as we got off to a later start, and we did not want the pool to impact the delivery of the high school. In fact, the board can expect in the next, I'd say, 4 weeks to get DSA approval on the building at Lodi High. And the board may already know that the site work and underground work has already been approved by DSA. As such, and since the dollar amount in the pool is going to be well above the capitalization level of $100,000, this project, the pool project, has to have its own resource management code so that our staff can track it and then add this project to the capital of the district, which the board will see in the annual audited reports. So this item actually pulls the $5 million that the board placed into this 09-06 resource in the 18-19 year, and it's moving it into its very own resource 09-19.
So we should have the pool ready by September, is that what you're saying?
As long as I don't have to mention the year, then.
Okay.
So what would be the timetable going forward?
Well, we still have to go to design, so we have PBK has this project has been added to their tasks. There is a schematic that is done. F&P will be scheduling meetings with the school site. Board members will be invited as requested, and we'll proceed from there. But I think the design of a pool usually goes a lot quicker than a building. The only issue with the construction of the pool is it will have to occur concurrently with the demolition of the old building, so it'll have to wait for that.
Well, this is great news. I've been texted throughout this meeting by one of the parents whose students attends Lodi High that this can't happen fast enough. They're very excited about this. My understanding is that the Lodi High Aquatics program is so successful right now that they actually had to turn away students because of our current pool size being too small. Other thing is, I've also heard that practice was canceled the last 2 days because the heaters got broke. So let's get rid of that old pool. Let's get that new pool in there. And this is great work, Mr. Khan and Dr. Washer. Thank you very much. It's great news. And with that, Mr. Nava.
Yes, sir.
President Nava.
Mr. Freitas.
I move to approve item A1.
Move. Ms. McFarland, second to approve item A1. Student vote,
Aye.
Aye.
board vote. Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent. Dr. Washer, item 8.5.
Mr. Nama, members of the board, we would like to pull this off of the agenda for further research. Bring it back another time.
Need a motion? Ms. McFarland, motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Knaxek, that we pull this
Table.
item 8.5.
Table it.
I'm sorry, table the item 8.5 for the next session. Student vote,
Aye.
Aye.
board vote. Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent. Mr. Heberly, item A6.
Yes, thank you. This is for a question for Mr. Palmquist. Hello. My question is we have other courses in place that sound like this. How is this one different than kind of what's going on? I think Bear Creek has an introduction one.
So I can take a stab at that, although Ms. Katowski may be able to fill in a little bit better. I think duration of this course is one of the things that's a little bit different. We have a seminar course at McNair. We have a few other advisory courses that are similar, but this will be a semester course, if I'm not mistaken.
A quarter.
Quarter, I'm sorry, quarter,
yeah.
A shorter term. So it would potentially dovetail with other courses that are in that configuration, and that is why it was brought to Curriculum Council and why Curriculum Council was interested in it. Anything else to add, Ms. Katowski?
It is a little bit different than the Bear Creek course that they have in terms of the student population that is targeted at, as that one was designed for a specific target of students, and the one at McNair is a year-long course for their incoming ninth grade students.
Is this one also for targeted, is that what you're saying, or the Bear Creek one was targeted?
The Bear Creek one was targeted.
Okay, and this one is more of a general.
Right.
Is this mandatory for every freshman?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Mr. Palmquist, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
If this is a quarter course, are you going to dovetail it with driver training? Is that the point?
It can dovetail with those courses. Again, that's not something that
Are you moving towards a semester of health?
We are eventually moving towards that, I believe.
Not in the coming school year,
Why?
because we don't have a course.
When does
for
the
that.
state law come into effect, but they have to be taught certain things regarding sex ed?
It becomes in effect this coming school year.
So
that's why
we will be out of compliance?
No, they're going to teach that in their health classes. The
What if they're
health
not taking health?
Then we will have to find a way for those students that are not taking health, driver's ed, those that are taking AVID or AP Human Geography, to take those classes.
Okay, I'm a little confused. So the law goes into effect next year, correct?
Correct.
And we will be, I guess we won't be out of compliance because we have to wait till they graduate. Is that how we're massaging this?
That's true.
Okay, I don't care for that. And the reason why we didn't go for the first semester of health and then a quarter of driver's training and then this kind of Avid Light 101, why didn't we do that?
The first semester of health classes, when it came to Curriculum Council, was voted down because that would have left driver's ed hanging out there without a quarter class. So it didn't pass Curriculum Council with the intent that it would come back. It hasn't come back because the teacher hasn't brought it back.
So we don't have a semester of health.
Not at this time.
That hasn't been presented to Curriculum Council.
Correct. The quarter course is what has been approved by Curriculum Council. That will continue the quarter course with the quarter of driver's ed.
So we haven't brought anything to deal with health and the current sex ed together to Curriculum Council.
The sex education curriculum will be taught in that quarter course of health, except for the students that are not.
So you're still on a quarter course of health.
Right.
Okay, I'm confused because I'm under the standing that we were going towards a semester of health, a quarter of driver's ed, and a quarter of Avid Light. which would be your 101 course. Is that happening or not?
It cannot happen because the class of health was not brought back to curriculum council for approval, so it didn't move forward. That was very clearly stated in the minutes of the curriculum council over a year ago. I asked the teacher to bring it back. It never came back. I asked several times for it to come back.
It has not come back this year at all?
Not come back this year at all.
So with the laws coming into effect on sex ed, they're going to be taught in their quarter of health.
Correct.
And for those kids that miss out on it, we're going to catch them somewhere?
We're going to figure it out for those students that are not, just like we would have done with the driver's ed, how we work with the driver's ed. Those that don't take driver's ed, they also have a path for receiving their driver's ed.
Are we being nimble on this, or are we just stumbling through a forest? Because I just think this is, and I'm not putting you on the spot on this, but it seems to me that the easiest way to go would be a semester of health, a quarter of driver's ed, and then a quarter of Avid Light. And if those parents can't, opt into that, we would do something online to fulfill the health requirements. I mean, that's just me thinking, 38 years of teaching science, of trying to work this out so we get something going through the law.
There's also a contingent of teachers that would like to have driver's ed as a semester course. So we haven't negotiated some of those things down because we have two camps of teachers that have different opinions. We have to work through that process.
So what has been brought to curriculum council? Just the sex ed?
Nothing yet. Well, no, the sex ed hasn't even come to curriculum council. It will come on the 24th of February.
But we're still out of compliance. So my point is, we're still breaking the law.
No, you are not out of compliance.
Wait. You just said that you don't have a sex ed program.
It's coming forth to curriculum council in February 24th.
No. Yes or no, do we have a sex ed program? No.
Not until February 24th.
Okay, but the answer is no.
It goes to curriculum council.
I know what the process is. I know we've been dealing with this for over 6 months. And I'm wondering why we're here at this point. I don't blame Lisa at all. But it seems to me that we could have had some nimbleness on this and got something ready to go for a freshman at this time. Because the law is the law.
We have until this coming school year to make those lessons mandatory. If we do not approve this curriculum council and bring it to the board for your approval process.
Is that for all incoming freshmen or for all kids that are in high school?
It's for all incoming freshmen at the start of when we start.
Okay, just checking because I want to make sure we're not out of compliance on the other thing.
So other districts have started it, but the year that
No, we're behind. Yeah, we're behind.
So I have a question. When do freshmen pick their classes? I know most of them now. They're in the process now, but we don't have a class prepared for them to take, to register for?
You have health.
If they go on that pathway.
Quarter course, right?
Right, so if they don't take health,
then they don't have.
then they're out of compliance. They could be, or.
It could be, but they haven't offered anything.
So, okay, thank you.
This will all be worked out when this comes to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But my point in this is, we've been dragging our feet on this. This drives me nuts for 6 months. And I don't blame you, Lisa, at all. But it seems like we're headed towards the iceberg. We're on the Titanic and we're going to get coffee.
Mr. Porter, you have to understand that she works with the curriculum council.
I'm not blaming Lisa.
Yes,
I'm looking at the whole bureaucratic
Right.
situation of this and how much we pay these people to take care of these situations. And I'm a little bit irate about the fact that we don't have something in play to go right away.
All right. Let's get it together and bring it to us, okay? All right, Mr. Heberly, 6.
We have a public comment.
Public comment?
Hi, Lana Gentry again. I teach at Bear Creek in social science, and so we have concerns. If we're doing all health and 101 and driver's ed, what about world geography? World geography is CSU UC approved. The other classes are not. They count as elective credit, So we have always wanted to keep geography. And so it is geography for semester, driver's ed for a quarter, health for a quarter. There is not enough curriculum to make driver's ed a semester. It's basically the DMV book, and the teacher adds to it. So to make that a semester would be, so I don't know, I mean, I wasn't a part of the approval process of 101, but I don't know where the heck that would be put. And is every kid having to take it? I mean, we were hearing that maybe, you know, just kids who need it. I don't know. But the kids who are in AP Human Geography that takes a year, they are then taking driver's ed online. I mean, that's what my son did.
Correct. But then they should have an alternative to their health. Maybe be online if they don't take world geography. I'm just saying.
Right, health was not being taught in AP Human Geography, and I don't know how we possibly think
I'm
it.
just saying you should have that choice as a parent, as a teacher, and we don't have that applied.
Correct.
Before they register.
Oh, I agree, but there was mentioning of a course that we already have at Bear Creek, like this 101, and I don't even.
It's only a quarter course.
Academic skills and success. It was passed, but it has never been run.
I was going to say, that is not
It was
being
passed by a
taught.
Bear Creek teacher through Curriculum Council, April 2018, I believe.
We've never had that class.
You guys got it approved. One of your teachers got it approved, but you haven't run that class, correct?
No, I haven't even heard of it, and these classes are in my department. So there you go. And you should be frustrated because our freshmen on our campus are finishing up registering for their sophomore year, and our counselors are going to go out to our middle schools to register the 8th graders for freshman year. But that has been a concern and a topic in our social science department, like where are we putting this 101? And does everyone have to take it? And you know, there's talk about letting kids take health for a semester and geography for a semester. So it's a mess to think about, but I'm going to tell you as a social science teacher, we don't want to get rid of geography. They don't know where things are coming in, and it is very beneficial to help us in world and US and everything else. It's quite frightening when I taught freshmen, I did these open things.
No one's saying we want to get rid of your class.
No.
I just wanted you to know
I
that if we're
understand.
doing all these
Went
others.
through Lodi Unified. I understand your concern. I'm just saying we have laws that we have to apply.
Oh, I understand that.
And I wanted to know where we were,
Mhm.
and I just don't think we've been very nimble.
Correct. I just wanted some of the questions to say, we're not doing this, et cetera, and concerns that we have. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. Anybody else comment, please?
Yes. Hi, Cindy Carter, Tokay High School. I wrote High School 101, president of the school board, Dr.
Yes.
Washer. I just wanted to clarify because I think there's been a little bit of confusion. There's currently 5 pathways that a freshman can enter into. They can take AP Human Geography, AVID. We have a pathway, a STEM pathway, Intro to Engineering. So those are all 3 courses that would not have health education, not a quarter, not a semester. They're year-long courses. We have 2 other pathways that a student can currently take. Geography backed with health and driver's ed, or family living backed with geography and driver education. So currently, as we exist, whether it's a quarter or a semester, only 2 of those 5 pathways are going to be getting health education within the school day. When I wrote this course, it was to back up to driver education, and it could also back up to, you could back health up to geography, which would make an entire year, semester, of A to G approved courses once health education is approved. So you would still have those pathways. Geography would never be removed from the equation. It would be students who would be backing up, hopefully, sooner rather than later, a semester of health education with a quarter of High School 101, with a quarter of driver education. So it's kind of looking at a different demographic and one that those students that are taking that course of action really, really need. They need these study skills. We see a lot of challenges in that 9th grade level because they've had no child left behind, and this is really the first time in their life that they're seeing that they can't just show up and pass their classes because they've continued to promote. So rest assured, removing geography was never, ever a part of the plan. With that being said too, this was not really intended to back up to family living and and health as a quarter. Because if we are going to dump this upcoming school year, the new sex ed curriculum into health, we have 9 to 10 weeks to teach all of our health standards as it exists, which is really, really difficult to do without 2 or 3 weeks of additional curriculum. So I would love to see this brought before Curriculum Council if we can decide and unify as a front with our health teachers so that we could move to a semester of health next year. We're going to be putting the sex ed curriculum through Curriculum Council next Monday. If we could move to put a semester of health in place at that time and actually run it as I wrote it to actually exist, it would be beneficial for the students, it would be beneficial for the teachers, because we would be hitting more students and really being able to dial into who's getting health education. Because if we put it in family living for these kids and we have only nine weeks to teach the new sex ed within our health class, I just don't see how it's going to work. It's going to be really, really difficult to hit all of our standards. So I'm sure it's kind of been a hot topic with health education, and that we don't require it as a graduation requirement. But we hit a lot of really, really critical and important, and I mean, that's my passion, but it's really life or death material that we're teaching these kids, coping skills. So I would love to see it not only as a semester, but as a graduation requirement for all of our students in Lodi Unified.
Thank you very much. I think we got away from the subject here. We were talking about high school 101 course study, and we're going through another subject area. I think that we better move on, and Ms. Kotowski, have something planned for the requirement that we have on these sexual things that classes, okay? I appreciate that, because we can stay here till midnight discussing these, and that's not what we're talking on the agenda here. So,
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Everly?
Thank you, sir. I think what would be really helpful is, granted, the course went through the proper channels. I don't have a problem with that, as long as the way it's presented. However, I think what would be very helpful is that if we see how the course is going to be implemented. There's a lot of things coming down the pike, and a lot of things that we just heard through this discussion. I think it would really be nice if we knew that, and let's face it, it's not the same at every high school. So if you could take this high school and say, this course backs up with this one, here's this pathway, how does everything dovetail into together? Is that possible, Dr. Washer, Ms. Kotowski?
I think you hit, Dr. Washer, if I can respond, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's why there's so much flux, is because we have 4 very independent high schools that really need to come together to have something to say.
And if there was, it would be great if they were very similar. Until then, it would be nice to have something that shows us, because we don't do the master schedule, and I think that would be.
Why don't we drop the hammer and bring them all together and get it done?
You just have to tell them this is where your course is.
Well, I understand this flux and this and that. Get them together, get it done, let's move on.
All right, let's continue. Mr. Heatherly, you have A6, please.
Yes, that was A6.
Yes.
My questions are answered, I will move to approve.
Mr. Heatherly moved to approve, Mr. Farland second to approve item A6. Student vote?
Aye.
Board vote? Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent. Mr. Heatherly, A7.
Yes, this is not for a question, this is for a comment. Dental assisting program has been in place for many years. It is an example, and the reason I wanted to bring it up is that it's an example of the type of course that the district has options for our students. And these kinds of courses translate directly into employment when they get out of high school, and or if it's through adult school, then they can do it right away concurrently in the whole deal. These courses are extremely important for us. Career Tech Ed is alive and well, and I just wanted to give a shout out to this program And I did not know that this individual was going to be in the audience, but Sherry Evans is the dental teacher, and her reputation is well known throughout the dental community in this city. So I didn't know you were going to be here. I figured Julie would be here, and I was going to ask if you would please let her know. But you're here, so I'm telling you thank you for everything you've done. And if there are no questions, I would move to approve item A7.
Been moved and second, moved by Mr. Heberly, second by Ms. McFarland, that we approve item A7. Student vote.
Aye.
Board vote. Motion carries 6-0, absent. Let's continue on with consent agenda B, student discipline cases.
Mr. President.
Mr. Freitas.
Move to approve consent agenda B.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Mr. Heberly to approve consent agenda B. No student vote on this. Board vote, please. Motion carries 6-0, absent. Other items have item A. This has to do with CASBOM. This is a resolution that has to be with the approval of Proposition 13. And most of you are familiar with this. I'm sorry, did I miss something?
A01? AOI1?
Yeah, this is the...
CSBA?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. The CSBA, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
There are two CSBA items.
All right, yes. This has to do with delegates to the assembly. Okay, as you people have read it, there's 4 members on this, and we are to vote for 3.
Up to 3.
Up to 3, and it calls for actually roll call vote.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Freitas?
I move that we would vote, Lodi Unified vote for Mr. Porter, Mr. Schuler, and Ms. Vanderpool.
Second.
Been moved and second that we vote for Mr. Porter, give me all now, Ms. Schuler, and Ms. Vanderpool. Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Ms. McFarland. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, student vote.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, could we have that repeated for the minutes?
We're going to vote for Courtney Porter, Stephen Schuler, and Jenny Vanderpool.
Got it? Okay. Student vote?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Board vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 6-0, absent. Okay, resolution 2020 authorizing the purchase of real property located at 19440 North Jack Tone. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, President, honorable members of the board, Dr. Washer. DJ, can I get the Lockford map? The board may recall closed session discussion regarding this property. We have negotiated a price. The price is $140,000. That is what the property appraises for. We did, however, obtain a $12,000 credit. As the board may recall, underneath about 2 feet of topsoil is a full layer of asphalt that needs to be removed. Can you go up just a little bit? The other one. The board may recognize the circular track or almost circular track at our Lockford School. The yellow outlined rectangle is the currently and finally developed drop-off area and parking spaces. The red area is the target property directly south of the easternmost part of the red area is the old Lockford School. So in essence, we sort of had the previous owner, or the current owners surrounded. They had a peninsular sort of hold on a piece of property between our school site and the new drop-off area. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What's the estimate to remove the asphalt?
Just a verbal estimate was $12,000 about 3 to 4 weeks ago. The Unified School District staff will return with a recommendation, but I'll preface that by saying it will simply be to remove the asphalt and any soil that doesn't test to be proper soil for a school district, place irrigation in the property and plant grass, and then fence it so that the school will have use of it. Until such time as the board decides to either add structure to the site or just simply leave it as a
So the value of the property right now is $128,000.
That's the value of the purchase. It
Purchase.
has appraised at $140,000.
$140,000, okay. It's an action item. Any other comments from the board? I think it's a no-brainer to me.
Mr. President.
Mr. Freitas?
I move that we approve item OAI2, purchase of the real property in Lawford.
Second. Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Mr. Heberly, to approve the purchase of the real property at Jacktone Road. Student vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Board vote? Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent.
Mr. Khan, thank you and your staff for getting this done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, personnel matters. Oh, did I skip one cent? I am. I'm just, I got the OAI4 proposal or no? Well, this is a resolution for Proposition 13. That's the one I was getting to, okay? Prop 13 provides $15 billion for school facilities. $9 billion would be available for pre-K through 12 schools. It's actually supported by CASBA, and all it is needs a resolution here to be supported by this board. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Under Proposition 51,
Yes.
The previous one from 2016, how much money has the district received or has been set aside allocated?
I don't believe we've received any, but I'll have to check on that. But I do understand the Prop 51 authority is completely exhausted.
Yeah.
That's why. But I'll check to see how much.
Yeah, CSBA information says that a lot of it has been allocated, but actually not sent.
Okay.
I'd be interested in that.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Mr. Freitas.
I move that we approve the resolution in item OAI3.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Ms. McFarland to approve and support of Proposition 13. Student vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Board vote. Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent. Okay, now we'll go to personnel matters. Mr. Mayor.
One more action item.
One more action item. What's going on here?
Just want to be done.
You get the reports first.
No, Mr. Freitas. What happens is it's almost 9:30, okay? It has nothing to do with the reports or anything like that. It has something to do with the length of this meeting.
I'll bring chocolate.
Okay, chocolate. Okay, the next one is the proposal Central Avenue site concept demolition project. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, President,
Yes,
members of the board. Dr. Washer, the board may recall at the most recent meeting, the February 4th regular board meeting, we discussed the 19 South Central Avenue site. I believe the board provided direction to business to bring back an agreement with an architect to both plan and design the demolition of the current buildings on the site and provide up to 4 conceptual site plans. In this agreement, you may have noticed that in case those 4 don't pass muster, we may add another 2 conceptual plans to the agreement as well. Be happy to answer any questions.
Comments from the board?
When you have the plans, it will come back.
Absolutely.
Can we have plenty of time to go through those plans instead of just at, the Wednesday before the meeting?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other board comment? Any comments from the audience?
Mr. President, are we approving the $39,000?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Freitas.
I move that we approve item OAI4, the proposed plans for the Central Avenue site.
Second. Been moved by Mr. Freitas, second by Mr. Knacksack, that we approve proposal for the Central Avenue site. Student vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Board vote? Motion carries 5, 1 no, 1 absent. All right, move on to personnel matters. Personnel matters? Any bites?
Routine personnel matters are presented.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I'm waiting for the board just to give me some input here. Personnel matters?
Mr. President.
Mr. Freitas.
Always this time of year, we see that some of our favorite employees are leaving, and one of them is Principal Odell, Reese Elementary. He's taught my children and grandchildren, and we know he'll be missed. So anyway, but we look forward to wishing everyone well in their retirement, and with that, I move to approve personnel matters.
Been moved by Mr. Freitas. Second by Mr. Knacksack to approve personnel matters. No student vote on this. Board vote.
Mr. President.
Mr.
I have a computer glitch.
Computer glitch. Well, let's go by vocal. Let's go by vocal.
No, it didn't time out. It's
installing
operator error. It's installing new software.
We have an hour.
Okay.
I have 2 minutes left to go, so we.
We're all getting it. So,
Okay.
Dr. Washer, can we do a roll call vote on this?
Roll call vote. Mr. Freitas, Mr. Beverly.
Aye.
Freitas.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 6-0-1 absent. Okay. Any board advisory committee reports? If not, meeting adjourned. We will go to closed session now.
Closed session. Let's do exactly.